Here live from the First Star Logistics Studio here in Cincinnati, Ohio, for a special edition of the Sit Down with Malik Wright. Now, the only way possible I would come to you guys this time of day, right, which is midnight, is if there's big news. And clearly there has been big news. The Bengals have signed offensive tackle Orlando Brown Jr. and what is being talked about as the biggest, you know, free agent in Bengals history in terms of financial dollars and what they've allocated to him. I know a lot of Bengals fans were pissed off, throughout the day, pissed off throughout the week because of the lack of moves. I tried to tell people as much as possible the Bengals' MO was to sort of sit back, let the market fall where it would, and then they'd start to pick pieces off as they went. But nonetheless, right, I'm not going to sit up here and act like this wasn't a shock to me. I got wind of this earlier today, and to be honest with you, I was a little bullish on it myself. I was like, yeah, we'll see, right? We'll see. I don't even want to put that out into the air. And then when it actually happened, I was like, okay, now we're cooking with grease. So I didn't expect movement today or yesterday. I expected movement more so today. And it seems like the deal the Bengals got Orlando Brown Jr. for to play left tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals seems to be a bit of a bargain. I know reports are out there. I know not all the reports are out there as it relates to the contract. Expected to only, count 8 million or so towards the cap. So this seems like it was a win for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm so curious to hear you guys' opinions. So curious to hear you guys' thoughts on it. But before I get into all that, if you guys could do me a huge favor, if you guys give this video a like, and also while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be live again later on. I guess it's today now at this point, but we'll be live at 6 p.m. later today to pretty much do our free agency frenzy show, which will be day 4 at this point, as we'll be talking about the latest stuff. So yeah, this is an epic signing. Bengals fans should be excited. Bengals fans should be hyped. And you know what's funny to me? I know this is my show, The Sit Down. It's not State of the Jungle. Usually Evan is with me, but the one thing I'm noticing, right, is you got Chiefs fans coming out in droves. Chiefs fans are coming out in droves and they're trying to steal your joy. Chiefs fans are coming out in droves trying to say, he isn't that good. But guess what? All Chiefs fans wanted them to sign the guy back. What I heard about the whole Orlando Brown thing is he was a little pissed off, right? That the Chiefs essentially chose Juwan Taylor over him. But what's one man's trash is another man's treasure. The Bengals do Tobin for as much flack as they get in the media. And everybody was saying the Bengals, the Bengals didn't do anything in this free agency. It seems like a lot of people are eating those words. The Cincinnati Bengals went out. They made a move. Am I saying Orlando Brown Jr. is some Hall of Fame left tackle? I think that remains to be seen. The guy has done it at a high level, right? 4-time Pro Bowler, as he, said on his Twitter, Super Bowl champion. People wrote him off constantly over and over and over again. And all this guy does is prove people wrong time and time again. He proved the Ravens wrong. He proved his doubters wrong with the Chiefs. And now I know a lot of the people in the league viewed him as a right tackle. And now people are, a lot of people were like, oh, we don't view him as a left tackle in National Football League. We view him as a right tackle. But it's clearly the Bengals view him where they view him. And yes, to your point, the Bengals made a statement tonight. You know what that statement is? And nobody's talking about it. They're trying to win. It's like what I said. The Bengals understand that this is their Super Bowl window, and the Bengals are going to do everything in their power to maximize that Super Bowl window. Now, I expect, and you guys can tweet out this, I don't expect this to be the last move. I do think this might be the last move when it comes to a big signing in terms of on the offensive line, but I don't think the Bengals are done yet. I also do think there could be a possible trickle-down effect, whether that means moving on to some, moving on from some players, some cap casualties, we'll see. but I do think the Bengals have fixing the offensive line in mind. And they guess what? They still didn't break the bank. I think that's the beautiful thing about that, about this. They still have not broken the bank. To me, the Bengals still are going to probably target a veteran tight end. We'll see who that is. We'll see what that looks like. To me, the Bengals are still going to try and add, pass rush help to help out this defensive line. They're not going to break the bank. They're going to get these guys that people are quote unquote cast offs on teams and things of that nature. The Bengals still have a lot of money still left to spend and things of that nature. So the way I look at it, this is an exciting time for Bengals fans. Do not let anybody tell you you don't have a right to be excited. You 100% have a right to be excited. And for once, guys, I'll be honest with you. You guys have known me for the last couple off seasons to be the first guy to break news. And for me, I just want to get this out in the open. There's also a reason why I don't spew everything that I hear, because for me, I am a fan of the Cincinnati Bengals, although I may cover them in the media, and I don't want to put rumors out there or things out there, and then teams get wind of things, and then the Bengals wind up missing out on a free agent target for whatever reason. So that's the reason why I'm very protective of the Bengals information that I do put out there. That being said, I am very and yes, the the reason why I said that Isaac Suamalo thing is because the Bengals would never pay a guard what Isaac is looking for, which is 16, 15 million. The Bengals don't believe in paying guards, but the Bengals have always believed in paying tackles. The Bengals have always believed in paying wide receivers. The Bengals have always believed in paying quarterbacks. There are certain positions that they stand by. There are certain positions that they stick true to. And quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver are always the positions that they stick to. But guys, I'm telling you right now, there's no place I'd rather be than right here in the First Star Logistics studio with all of you talking about Orlando Brown, the newest Bengals franchise future left tackle, right? There's no place I'd rather be than talking ball with you guys and talking about this thing. So one thing I'd like to see everybody get trending on Twitter, right? I'd love for people to get the Gesicki to the Natty thing trending on Twitter, because I genuinely believe in my heart Mike Gesicki would take this offense over the top. We're not here to talk about Mike Gesicki. We're here to talk about Orlando Brown Jr., and I'm here to answer all of your questions. I'm here to talk ball with you guys, and I'm glad that you guys here at midnight, you're just as crazy as I am. You're sitting up here, you're watching this show, and you're also talking ball with me. No place better. Daniel, with that being said, take it away. Let's get to the questions, man. I'm excited to talk to the people.
First off, you're being a man of the people, showing up here this late, but people are asking, what does this mean, as far as the Bengals free agency? What else can they do after this? I mean, are they completely screwed with the cap, or where do you see them going right after this
Oh,
move?
Bengals are not screwed at the cap. So here's the beautiful thing. The longer free agency goes, the more and more of these prices come down. The people that want to start to prove themselves to these teams and things of that nature, that's when they start taking these bargain deals to prove themselves to teams around the NFL. That's when they start taking these bargain deals to maybe it's a 1-year deal, maybe it's a 2-year deal with incentives, maybe it's a 3-year deal with incentives, or the second year being optional, or third year being optional, whatever that looks like. But this is where you start to see the teams that are contending for championships start to maneuver smartly. How the Bengals have maneuvered this thing is so intelligent. They didn't get caught up with let's go spend crazy money on a running back, or let's go spend crazy money on this or that. Because guess what? They did that in their way, right? They went out there and they picked up players, so on and so forth, the last couple of years, to the point where they don't have to be the first most aggressive team on the first day of free agency. And partly this is sort of what I'm talking about when I was saying earlier, don't expect the Bengals to operate the same way that they have in years past. Expect this to be different. The fact of the matter is, I expect the Cincinnati Bengals to continue to be smart about the cap. I expect the Cincinnati Bengals to continue to add pieces to the team that make sense. So I think that's the really, really cool thing about how they're operating. And guess what, guys? I wasn't lying when I said players want to come to Cincinnati. I've heard for a long time Orlando Brown wanted to come to Cincinnati. I also know Joe Mixon had recruited him a little bit a couple years back to come to Cincinnati. It didn't work out that way. But, the fact of the matter is, Yeah, I see those people in the comment section. As far as my knowledge, I've asked several times about Chauncey Gardner Johnson, and the answer that I've gotten is no, it's not happening. That's what I was told. Do things change? Will Chauncey Gardner take a huge pay cut to come to Cincinnati? I don't envision that. I don't see that. I can only go off of the information that I was giving. And what I was pretty much being told is the Bengals have not offered anything to Chauncey Gardner Johnson. That price range is out there. He's looking for a big payday. He's entering the prime of his career. He's 25 years old, and he's one of the better safeties in the National Football League. I do think that he is using the Bengals fan base, quote unquote, as clickbait on Twitter when he does the retweeting of jersey swaps and tweeting at players and stuff like that. So I would not read too much into that. Remember, it takes two to tango. I have not heard any up. I do need to
You need to get that on the shirt.
Put it on a shirt.
Yeah.
It takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. So let's keep the questions going.
So a lot of people are asking, what does this mean for the offensive line? Where does Jonah go? Where does Lyle Collins go? We were talking about it in the car a little bit. How do you see the Bengals offensive line looking now with Orlando
And
Brown?
this is clearly quickly off of speculation, right? This deal just happened and things of that nature. Just on, I know for a fact he was brought here to play left tackle. So Orlando Brown is our left tackle. I do not expect them to pay Jonah Williams, what they're paying him, which is like what, 12 million or something like that this upcoming year. Jonah Williams is going to be a starter somewhere on this offensive line. And if I had to envision, I would expect Jonah to be at right tackle, Cordell Volson to be at left guard, Ted Karras at center right guard to be Alex Kappa. Now, is there a world in which Lyle Collins is left guard? I'm not sure. I don't know. Is there a world in which Jonah's left guard? I'm not sure. I don't know. But right now, one thing's for sure, two things for certain. If Jonah Williams is on this opening day roster to start the season, which I expect him to be, I would say that he's going to be a starter somewhere on this offensive line. And my bet right now will be right tackle.
People are asking, can the Bengals
By the way, that's where he should have been to start, when he came into the league, by the way, as well.
Can the Bengals still re-sign T. Higgins? Corey's asking.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And guess what? The Bengals are maneuvering in which the way that they know that they have to as well. They want to keep T. Higgins around, right? They want to keep some of these playmakers around Joe Burrow. And I here's the one thing and I've been saying this for the longest time. I don't know if Joe Burrow is going to sign for the contract that people are anticipating him to. Here's one thing I want to get to. Do you guys think that they signed do you guys think that they signed Orlando Brown Jr. without discussing it with Joe Burrow? Right? Let's talk real, right? They know that they want to bring Joe Burrow. They know they want to extend Joe Burrow. They also know they want to protect Joe Burrow. The common theme from a lot of players around the Bengals this year has been Joe knows what he has to do in order to keep his playmakers around him, in order to maximize this roster. I'm not going to put words because I haven't talked to Joe, and I'm not that. It's not how I do things. But to me, it just like reading the tea leaves, it seems like the guy isn't going to take some massive, huge contract that people are anticipating to take because he realizes that, it takes a team to get the job done. So for me, I think that Joe Burrow might not sign for what people are thinking he might not, or if people are thinking he might sign for. I think he might take a little bit less than what people are expecting in order to keep some of the pieces around him in order to make this a championship roster for years to come.
When you were talking about the tight ends earlier, our guy Wes said, what's with the smirk, Malik? Do you know something about the tight ends? But how would you address the Bengals tight end room as of right now?
How would I address the Bengals tight end room?
And how do you think that they are going to?
Oh, I mean, I don't know how they're going to address it, but if I were the Bengals, I'd place a phone call to Mike Gesicki tomorrow morning, and I say, "Hey, Mike, your value is going down. Right? What you essentially thought you could sign for. The Miami Dolphins tanked your value. Let's bring you in here to Cincinnati. This is a pass-happy team. Mike, you talked about wanting to play for a pass-happy team. There's no more pass-happy teams in the league outside of the Kansas City Chiefs, who already have a tight end by the name of Travis Kelce, and us, the Cincinnati Bengals. Here's my pitch as well to Mike. Mike, we've taken CJ Uzama and we've taken Hayden Hurst. There's no better place to come to reestablish yourself from a value standpoint outside of the Cincinnati Bengals. There's no place to reestablish your value in the NFL. We've gotten CJ Uzama paid a big contract. We've gotten Hayden Hurst paid a huge contract, 3 years, $13 million. He hasn't gotten that type of contract since he came in the National Football League. We haven't even gotten him. Mike, you have more talent from a receiving standpoint than both of those guys put together. It's a no-brainer. You want to reestablish yourself as one of the best tight ends in football, which everyone said you would be when you came out of Penn State, which everyone said you were headed to when you put up those 700 plus yard seasons two times in Miami before they you pretty much pulled the offense from up under you and started going to a Tua Tagovailoa offense to make him feel more comfortable. Come to Cincinnati. Let's make you some money. Come to Cincinnati. You'll play for a winner. Come to Cincinnati and you have an opportunity to win championships.
Malik, do you think that this, signing could have impact Mixon's decision on taking a pay cut, or do you think that Mixon's still gonna, whatever happens, happens?
There's I'll just say this. That's to be determined. That whole situation is still working itself out.
All right. When you look at, people are asking once again about the safeties. How do you think that the Bengals approach the safety position?
I think the Bengals are going to try to add a veteran safety. I mean, as far as that's what Lewis said, I know that I've specifically asked people in the building about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I was told immediately, no, that's not happening. So that's all I can. I know I hate to be the person, the messenger of bad news. And I hate to be the person that, you know, that seems like they're just shutting things down. But we want Chauncey Gardner-Johnson here. Sure. Absolutely. But again, got to be realistic a little bit, right? We can't pay everybody.
Exactly. So our guy, Gandil the Funky, he's saying,
I love the name.
it's a great name. He's
If
saying,
you guys could do us a huge favor, give this video a like and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate it. Definitely trying to hit 4,000 subscribers. Really appreciate that.
I butchered the name, Gandalf the Funky. He said, makes me wonder if the DeJuan James is still there at 28 if we don't grab him, or if we grab him and develop him. What do you think that they do? If DeJuan James is there or another tackle's there at 28, do you draft him?
I don't think the Bengals draft the tackle at 28. I think the Bengals either go and I keep saying this, tight end or defensive line. From what I've gathered from the combine, it seems to me those are the two positions that they narrow it down to. No matter what they do in free agency, they're definitely going to draft a tight end at some point.
Good question here from our guy Jim. Malik, in regards to Orlando Brown, where does this rank in the biggest free agent signings in the Bengals history of the last 10 years? Is this the biggest one?
Man. I see DJs was huge for me. That was a big signing, right? That showed that they were stepping outside of the norm, if you will. And they had to do something as well. When you don't draft as well, you have to try to do things to try to make a splash. Yeah, I mean, I guess Orlando Brown would be, right? I mean, I think he would have to be. I think the guy is a proven tackle. You now don't have to worry about the left tackle position for at least 4 years. And he's going to feel a sense of loyalty as well, right? He's going to find a sense of loyalty to want to come to stay in Cincinnati, because Cincinnati is the only team that was willing to give him a chance. I know the Bears were in on him as well, and the Steelers had some interest. It seemed like the Bears were going to get him the other day, but that didn't happen. But yeah, I think that he's going to feel a sense of loyalty to Cincinnati, because the Cincinnati Bengals were the one team that said, "Hey, we want you, and not only do we want you to play left tackle for us."
Like I said, I think Malik should be the one placing the phone call to Mike Gesicki in the morning.
I'm telling you, I'd love to call Mike Gesicki and say, "Hey, Mike, you're a Bengal." Mike is from my neck of the woods, Jersey area, so definitely am familiar with this game, familiar for what he brings to a football team and things of that nature. And having one of my good buds, over at Penn State, I was able to go to a couple of games and things of that nature. Mike Gesicki is the truth, guys.
Our guy Chasten always showing up here. He said, the guaranteed money they gave Orlando just showed me how things are changing in Cincinnati. Much props. Malik, can you talk to the people a little bit about, I mean, we weren't expecting them to shell out any guaranteed money, so what does this mean for the new regime? Are they changing?
I think that we've already, I think they've already gone past the phase of, are they changing? They 100% are changing. The Bengals are not the same old Bengals. One of my favorite sayings I typically say is, these aren't your grandfather's Bengals, right? These are this team is different. This organization is different. And that's what happens when you bring in a new regime. You know what I mean? And you get people like Zach Taylor. They sort of breathe a breath of fresh air into the organization. Like, I know a lot of people give the Brown family flack for, the lack of quote unquote aggressiveness, but also I want to say Marvin Lewis had his own MO and ways of doing things. And I got to talk to a couple of his assistants, long after he left. And the general theme that I got is Marvin really, really liked to draft and develop guys. He really didn't like to go out and dip into the free agency pool. And I think his reasoning behind that is he knows what he's working with. He knows what he's dealing with. If you even think about the James Harrison signing that the Bengals made under Marvin Lewis, that he knew James Harrison for years. He thought that that was a move that made sense for the Bengals and things of that nature. And for his elite play for so many years and terrorizing the division, I think I think when you look at it, man, I think that Marvin Lewis, that was his biggest thing, man. He wanted to draft and develop his players. And, I was talking to Drake Kirkpatrick, honestly, recently about this, and he was telling me, people don't realize how hard I had it, man, and how much I had to work through, Marvin's system and trying to really break through and becoming a starter. So I think when you look at it, it was very, very challenging uh for rookies to break through a Marvin system. But also, I don't think the whole not signing free agents thing is all on the Brown family. I also think Marvin had his way of doing things. And I think sometimes it just fell that way where it was easy to place the blame because we're not going to come out and say we're not signing free agents because Marvin Lewis doesn't want to. But if you look at it, the Brown family is 100% open to change. Now, call it, they say for years, um, call it what they say for years, um, the Bengals, in my opinion, the Bengals, they didn't change the stripes overnight, right? It was one of those things where I think that they were always open to change. And I know with a lot of people out there that say, "Oh, the Bengals, they're bullish on going out there and picking up free agents," but maybe it was the losing that kind of got them out of their ways, or maybe they've always been this way and they kind of were just letting Marvin, do his thing as well. But I don't buy the whole, you know Marvin, the Bengals don't want to sign free agents thing. I think that certain coaches have things that they like. It's like when a new coach comes into a team, he's gonna have his own regime. Like, he's gonna have his own things that he wants to bring and his own tendencies and stuff like that. Like Frank Reich's tendency with the Colts was, hey, I'm gonna pick up veteran quarterbacks because that's what I know, right? So how's he going to do now that he's going to probably have to draft? He's not probably, he's going to draft a quarterback with the first overall pick, expecting that to be Bryce Young, right? How's he going to do with that? We haven't seen Frank Wright working with a rookie quarterback as the head coach. We don't know how that's going to go because his MO, his tendency talks about, hey, I like to draft veteran quarterback. I know I went off on a tangent, but I'm just talking about tendencies and things of that nature. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so people are asking, about I mean, they're just talking about this being a sigh of relief and this, Bengals fans being impatient and annoyed to go into excited and, can't sleep. What does this feel like for you? I mean, you've done a show for, the past 3 days and it's been very impatient. How are you feeling, so far about this?
Let me just say I love you guys. Like, all jokes aside, I love you guys. I moved to Cincinnati in September, man, and you guys have treated me like family. You guys have supported us, tuned into our shows and things of that nature. Um, this is cool, man. Um, this is really, really cool to see from the fan base because the Bengals fan base is the best fan base in the National Football League. Um, they deserve a winner. They honestly deserve a winner, man. And I can't say enough good things about this fan base, about these people, which is why I always tell them I'm new media. I try to be different, right? I am one of you. I grew up a Bengals fan my entire life. I know what it feels like to have your team, so close, so close, so close. I remember being a kid, man, in high school and seeing the Bengals do absolutely nothing at the trade deadline. I remember that. I remember being a fan, seeing the Bengals do nothing in free agency, man. Um, so for me, seeing this for Bengals fans, man, this is awesome, man. This is awesome. For me, covering this team, for me, covering the sport, it's cool seeing the narrative flip. You know how many texts I got from friends of mine in the media saying, you know what, man, your team, Cincinnati's really making moves. And the other day, I was getting texts, oh, Cincinnati's getting worse. And now everybody's kind of flipped on their head. They're like, oh, they're not the same old Bengals. And man, I'll just tell you, it's really, really neat. It's really, really cool for me to see the Bengals change the way they go about things, man.
So I see a lot of people, having questions, and a lot of people on social media are saying, oh, this is an overpay. 4 years, $64 million, 31 million as a signing bonus. Malik, what's your thoughts? Is this an overpay?
No,
Is this a right? Like,
no.
talk about the money.
Bengals went out and got their guy. This is, if you want to know what good tackle play looks like in the NFL, this is what it looks like. If this is an overpay, Mike McGlinchey was a wholly overpay, right? If this was an overpay, Jawan Taylor was a wholly overpay because Orlando Brown Jr. is better than both of these guys.
We got a question about the draft really quickly. Our guy Bengal Pool said, if Kalijah Cansey and Will McDonald are both there at 28, who are the Bengals taking if it's between those two?
If it's between Kalijah Cansey and who?
And Will McDonald.
They should take Will McDonald. They should 100% take Will McDonald. I think Will McDonald is being slept on and disrespected a lot in this draft, honestly. I think the guy's a freak.
Our guy Davin Gabes is saying we should move up to 20 and take Michael Mayer before someone steals him. What's your thoughts on
I don't
that?
think you got to worry about anybody stealing Michael Mayer. I think Michael Mayer might fall right into the Bengals' lap, honestly. And if he doesn't, there are other positions of needs. I don't think the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals love anybody enough to where it's like, hey, I'm going to move up in the draft, if you will. Like I think they're going to trust their board and they're going to trust somebody's going to fall to them.
Our guy Knife is asking, other than tight end, what other position should Cincinnati shoot for? I would say in free agency.
Oh, defensive line depth. They need to add some more defensive line depth. Get a corner or two if you can for some depth because we obviously know that corner can hurt. Can hurt. Can hurt. If you're missing, especially in this pass happy league, you can't have enough good corners, but also tight end, right? I think at some point you need to go grab a tight end.
Fiji's asking about Jalen Carter. What's your thoughts really quickly on him? After all the stuff, if he falls at 28,
that guy is so talented, man. And just to see everything just falling apart for him, man, it's heartbreaking. That guy's a freak, man, and he has all the talent in the world, man. I hope he gets some good people in his life to surround him, man, and really support him, man, and get him on the right path because that dude could be special in the National Football League.
All right, just a couple more. Our guy Chasten really quickly said, any interest in Matt Ioannidis would be a solid 3 tech for the Bengals.
So story time. Matt Ioannidis is best friends with one of my close friends, and he was his neighbor for years. And that guy is awesome. He is awesome as a person. He's a little bit forgotten about. I think he's kind of been his value has been driven down a little bit. I think he would do great in Cincinnati. I think a lot of defensive linemen would do well in Cincinnati because of Lou's scheme and how complex it is. And it really just allows you to be free and be yourself. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thing from our guy, Matt Levine. He said, just got to say, it's pretty cool that over 500 people are here watching this. It's almost 1 a.m. on the East Coast. Just a credit to the show.
Hey, man, listen, this show is not, yes, this show is live as well. This isn't without you guys, man. You guys make this all possible. Again, I came and I started doing the show, man, it's about you guys, man. It's not about this is about you guys. It's not about me, right? That's not why I do the show. So appreciate you guys always supporting. If you guys can subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on post notifications. We'll be back in studio as well later on today at 6 p.m. Eastern time, talking through all the latest free agents news, rumors, and things of that nature. And I'm sure I'll have some stuff to talk about as well with all the happenings around the National Football League. But no, you guys are kick ass, man. You guys make this all fun.
All right, one last one for me, and this one, I'm kind of wondering about this too. The running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs in the 2nd round, Bijan Robinson in the 1st round. Where would you go with that?
See, I love Bijan. I do, man. But I also love Jahmyr Gibbs. But again, I'm biased. I'm an Alabama fan. I'm an Alabama Crimson Tide fan, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask. Roll Tide. But, I'll just say, I think that there's a running back you're leaving out of there, and that's Zach Charbonnet. That's a guy that is really, I've really somebody said things of that nature shirt coming soon. I know I say that a lot. I apologize. I gotta stop that habit, right? I say that a lot, but Zach Charbonnet is a guy that I think is being forgotten about. To me, he's like of that AJ Dillon mold. He can pass block, he can run hard. So that's just my opinion. I certainly don't think the Bengals should draft a running back in the 1st round. I don't care who's there.
Wait, what?
Let's keep the conversation flowing, man. We drove all the way up here. I want to keep the conversation.
Our guy
don't
Keith,
cut him off. Don't cut him off early.
No. Our guy Keith Bradley said, Malik, when will we get to see a little Bill? You posted on Twitter.
Hey, man. Whenever if they do it, let's do it.
Griffin is probably making a joke. He's saying, who's starting at left tackle next year, Orlando or Carmen?
Orlando, man. Orlando.
People are asking, what happens to Lyle Collins? I know you touched on it earlier, but where does Lyle Collins go? Is he a starter? Are they cutting him? Where do you
I
see for
think if
Lyle?
I have a hard time seeing the Bengals cut Lyle Collins. I do. You know, I think that also sets a bad precedent because you got to remember the way his contract is set up. A lot of his contract is incentive based. Outside of the first year where it was a lot of money guaranteed, you know, he's gotta play in order to make money. You know,
Bengal Kyle said, "How high are you on Cordell Volson?"
Cordell Volson really shocked me. You know, I I'll say this when when Cordell Volson was first announced as the starter last year, I was like, oh, you know, because Bengals fans, I love you guys, but some of y'all you guys, you know, kind of get enamored with a certain player and you kind of just go crazy about it. But I was like, man, this guy's got to show me, man. You know, he's got to show me what he's made of, man. I got to see some stuff, man. He really impressed me as a rookie, man. He really, really did. I think that he handled everything. He took it in stride. He had some tough games that he bounced back really, really, you know, in a big way from. And I think he continued to prove the organization right for drafting him. I think that guy's a stud. I do.
There was a lot of quarterbacks that flew off the board today. Jacoby Brissett,
By the
Baker.
way, so freaking happy for that guy. I am so freaking happy for Jacoby Brissett to see that disgusting situation up in Cleveland and seeing what he had to deal with, man, and seeing the way he made the Browns fighters, man, and seeing him have to revert back to a backup role when that guy got inserted back in the lineup and got approved by the league to play and all that kind of stuff. That kind of sucked for me because you could tell Jacoby it didn't sit right with him, that situation as well. And I always saw him leaving there, but I feel like with the Commanders and, with the whole ownership and the Commanders, that's a weird situation, right? But at least he's getting an opportunity. It's a better situation for him. That guy is a pro man, and I think he's going to do well.
With all the quarterbacks, is there any update on Brandon Allen? Are they looking to upgrade, or where do you think they go
I
for
have not
QB
heard a
two?
peep, but I also don't think they have to worry about Brandon Allen having a market. I think he'll be there. If they want to sign him, they'll sign him. So
Our guy Matt is asking about.
Chris, my guy, man, I appreciate you. I saw your DM too, brother. Miss you, man.
We should have had Chris on the show today.
We should have had Chris, man. That's my dude, man.
Matt's asking, can only imagine a signing like this helps other players want to come now. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. This is a win now move, right? This is a move from a team that says, you know what? I want to win a championship. And I just cannot wait until we play KC next year. I'm so excited for that. I'm over the hill for it.
Nathan Ayers is asking, what about Kareem Hunt, Devin Singletary, Jerick McKinnon for an RB option? What are your thoughts?
What is the question again? Sorry.
Kareem Hunt, Devin Singletary, or Jerick McKinnon? You like any of them for the running back?
I love Kareem Hunt. I've always liked Kareem Hunt. I don't see the Bengals allocating a lot of money to the running back position in free agency. I really don't. I think that they draft a guy, and I think that guy they draft is going to be, their future.
Why doesn't Yannick Ngakoue have a larger market? He's a beast. I love for the Bengals to pick him up for 2 to 3 years.
I think the one issue is Yannick Ngakoue. I think he has untapped potential for sure. I think some teams for his asking price, right? He's only had monster seasons amongst when he was on great defensive lines, whether it be the Saxonville and Jacksonville with the Jaguars or the Raiders when he was playing next to Max Crosby, and then he was with the Colts this year. And maybe it was a lack of interest or whatever the case may be, but that guy has a lot of talent, especially from a pass rush standpoint. I think he has a lot of upside to offer a football team. So yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand why his market isn't where it is, but I'm a big Yannick Ngakoue fan. I've always been.
Okay, Bengal Kyle has another good question. He's asking, what's Akeem Davis Gaither's role this season with Pratt coming back? I feel like not a lot of people have actually talked about what's his role
Yeah,
going to be like.
right with Pratt back. That's I still think they're. I don't know if the Bengals, told Pratt, hey, I'm going to play you on third downs or whatever the case may be, but I think Akeem Davis Gaither is still going to be rotated in at times and things of that nature on passing downs. Akeem Davis Gaither has a bright future. I like the guy. I think he's like a Swiss Army knife at linebacker position. I'd like to see him being used more in a blitzing role this upcoming year because that's a lot of stuff that he did over at his alma mater. And I think that guy has a lot of upside as well.
Chris Rucker saying, do you cut Joe Mixon and go with Evans, Williams, and a rookie?
I will say this. The Bengals fans are very, very smart. And, no matter what free agency breakdowns we do or off-season breakdowns we do, we all keep coming back to a common theme.
Michael's saying Leonard Floyd is a name that I have not heard of or that wasn't mentioned enough. Is there any news on where Leonard Floyd is going?
Haven't heard anything on Leonard Floyd. I know the Bills had a little bit of interest in him. I don't know what his market looks like. And then again, I haven't checked really too hard on it. It's just pretty much whispers. You hear so many whispers on a consistent basis. We'll see.
The Eli Apple question. Tell the people. People are asking, is he coming back? I heard some rumors today, but didn't hear anything definitive.
I mean, he's always there. Eli Apple, um, I think Eli Apple was one of those guys where, he may see his value as much higher than other teams might be. Um, I know that happened 2 years ago or last year or last when he was a free agent, where he thought he was gonna cash in and it didn't happen. He wound up returning to Cincinnati. I don't know what it is this year. I do know the Bengals would like to have him back, but I also do know it's one of those things where it's always gonna be there. So
Yeah, we've got people saying, where do the Bengals go at safety once again? But the name in particular is Taylor Rapp.
yeah.
People are asking,
I
any
like
news
Taylor
on it?
Rapp coming out of the draft. I haven't heard any whispers just yet on Taylor Rapp. Then again, I haven't asked about him specifically. I asked about Clyde Edwards-Helaire specifically. And I'm not why did I say Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I asked specifically. Guys, it's that time
I was
of
gonna
night.
say, I was gonna
It's that
say,
time of
ooh,
night. So
it's like
forgive me.
a little breaking news.
I asked specifically about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and I was told no. So
Sticking with that really quickly, people are saying, do you think Orlando Brown can get Jerick McKinnon to come to the Bengals? People are asking about that. Kansas City connection.
yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, I don't know.
Nick saying, is it now a lock for the Bengals to be playing the Chiefs in game one of the season
Oh, it
this
needs
year?
to be. So many storylines coming out of that, right? So many storylines coming out of that. Should be fun.
Bengal Pool saying, Malik, who's your sexy pick at 28? I want to know who you want. And I know you've touched on a couple, but just give the people who would be your pick at 28.
Who do I want at 28? Hmm. I haven't given that a lot of thought. Let me tell you why. Uh Next week on State of the Jungle, Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, live from the First Star Logistics Studio, we'll be doing a war room. Literally, where we'll be acting as the Bengals front office. Logan, me, Evan will literally do the mock draft. The mock draft will come up and we'll, get to the pick. We'll get to the pick at 28 and we'll pretty much debate our picks. We'll have a podium up. We're literally going to make it like a real war room. We're going to have a 10-minute timer to pretty much make our case for each round. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'm excited to share that with you guys. And I don't really want to let that cat out of the bag just yet, to let you guys know.
People are saying that you almost gave them a heart attack with the Clyde Edwards-Helaire thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that.
But our guy, Dave Lapham's here. He said, Friday we'll have a one-on-one with Bengals coach Frank Pollock, who talks about Williams and Collins, how they're coming back from injury, and several O-line in the draft. Great job today from Dave Burt.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you, man. Much love, brother. Appreciate your support. Without Dave, man, we aren't as far as we are, man. The guy has made this show possible, honestly, and he's given us so much amazing feedback on how to get better at our craft. So much respect. Dave does a fantastic job. Dave Lapham and Dave Burke both do a fantastic job, and huge supporters. They're family to us. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate you, man.
People are asking about the Bengals punter. Is punter on the table for agency on the draft? Where do you think that they go with the punter?
The Bengals are going to pick up a punter. I don't anticipate them, settling for shanked punts. I don't think that happens.
Blake, more of a heartfelt one. He said, not a Bengals question, but I look up to you, Malik. I want to do what you do in the future. What do I need to do to get where you are? Blake Flynn.
Man, that's love, brother. I appreciate it. Just be consistent. Never turn down an opportunity and always be a sponge. That's the biggest thing I could tell you, man. I was fortunate enough to learn from some people. I learned how to do things the correct way and some things not to do. It was a lot of trial and error, but don't get too hard on yourself. Build each and every single day, brick by brick by brick, and just realize, you should be in constant competition with yourself. For me, I never worry about what the person beside me is doing. I always worry about myself, and I try to be in consistent competition with myself. I know if I get 1% better each and every single day, I know it sounds cliche, I know it sounds corny, but it's the God's honest truth. You get further along when you're comparing yourself to yourself because as long as you're comparing yourself to yourself, you'll continuously outwork yourself on a day-to-day basis. So that's my advice to you, Blake, man. And my DMs are always open, man. Feel free to reach out to me.
Matt Brewer is saying, I think this shows other free agents that they are serious about going to get a chip this year.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think everybody knows that as well. I think some things that I've heard as well is from some free agents were they view Cincinnati as a hotbed destination because they think that the way the AFC North is set up for the next couple of years, especially with the unknown with the Lamar Jackson situation, it feels like Cincinnati has a real opportunity to take the AFC North, um, for the next couple of years. And with the Steelers having Kenny Pickett as their quarterback, with the Ravens unsure about Lamar, and we don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson and the Browns. I don't know what they're doing really over there, but it just seems like the Bengals are really really set up for a longer run to make this consistent.
Alice is saying, does this signing make the Bengals the Super Bowl favorites? Like, do you think the Bengals are Super Bowl favorites? And also, do you think that the media is going to
No,
see them as Super Bowl
no, the
favorites?
media will never see Cincinnati as Super Bowl favorites until we actually get a ring, unfortunately, because that's just the way it's set up. It's easier to push some of these other teams, whether it be the Kansas City Chiefs, who've deserved, by the way, to be Super Bowl favorites. They won a championship uh, twice in the last couple of years here, and I think the Bengals are better than them personally. I think the Bengals roster is better than them, and I think the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals were just. I think the Cincinnati Bengals were just, they ran into they weren't too lucky with injuries down the stretch. A lot like the Super Bowl year, they were healthy for the most part. But I think that this Bengals football team in totality is really really talented, and it's going to be a tough team to beat.
Nathan's saying, how are the Bengals planning on attacking wide receiver four?
I think that they're going to probably try to draft a wide receiver later in the draft. I know they talked to some receivers and things of that nature, but probably draft a wide receiver four later in the draft. Probably get some more speed to stretch the field.
Jim saying, is there any thoughts that on Irv Smith Jr.
Haven't
as
heard
a
anything about Irv
potential?
Smith Jr. None at all.
Chris Evans, is he still going to be on the team opening day? It feels like the Bengals do not like.
I know the Bengals. Some people in the organization have their thoughts on Chris. I think Chris has a lot of talent. It's just about putting the mental side together as well. But I wouldn't sleep on that too much because remember Travion Williams sat in the Bengals backfield for a while, and the look of the Bengals just brought him back and re-signed him, and a lot of people probably thought that wasn't going to happen, right? But he finally got an opportunity, right?
A two-part question here from Chris Hall and somebody else. Where do you think Lamar Jackson is going to play this upcoming year?
The Baltimore Ravens.
And also, is there any info on why the Falcons were in such hard pursuit for Watson, but the first to announce that they were out on Lamar Jackson?
That's a good question. I think Dave Mulgeta has ties to Atlanta, and things of that nature, and that's or a front office where he already has a relationship with. He's a tough guy to, you know.
A question about Odell Beckham. People are asking about the Cowboys and the Bills. Where do you think that Odell Beckham goes?
I have no idea. That guy is. This is the same dude, man, who had a party, last year and didn't want to sign with a team because Cash App was paying him $3 million to host his birthday party in Vegas. Insider news, by the way. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what day. I don't know what Odell Beckham's mentality is, man. It seems like that guy's he. It seems like he's committed to making as much money as possible while doing as little work as possible. So it's kind of
Michael said another one very similar to our other guy. He said, Malik, any chance we can get on a background on how you got where you are today?
Yeah, just I'll do a quick deep dive. Used to work for a company called backsportspage.com up in Fairfield, New Jersey, and was writing for them for a little bit. And I realized I hated writing. Just not who I am. I like to express myself and express my feelings on things. And so we jumped into the podcast. From there, I started a show called The Right Way Podcast. From The Right Way Podcast, I was very successful on the East Coast. We did that for a while. Wind up leaving because I realized I wanted more. I didn't want to just talk about Giants and Jets and things of that nature. I want to talk about the NFL as a whole. And then I decided to launch my own company after being with them for several years called the Right Way Sports Network. Didn't know what I was doing at the time. I was making seven figures as a director for a vacation company. Did very, very well for myself. Was going to Rider University at the time. Pretty much took that, launched the company, brought some writers in. Pretty much things just took off from there. Partnered up with USA Today. Brought Daniel on, me and Daniel took the business to the next level, brought on some serious talent, things of that nature. And I use my contacts that I made from when I was working for Back Sports page to pretty much leverage into what I'm doing. Now started breaking news on Instagram. Friends told me, hey, you need to stop using Instagram, use Twitter. Started breaking Bengals news on Twitter, blew up over a period of time, was consistent, you know, and yeah, the rest is history. First Star Logistics took a chance on me out here in Cincinnati, wanting to, partner with me and things of that nature. And it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful ever since. And I'm just happy that I get to bring the show to you guys on a consistent basis. And hopefully you guys are enjoying it.
Yeah, of course. Love that. I think the people definitely need to hear that sometimes. And I mean, you are an inspiration to a ton of these people. So, and even myself. So, a little
Appreciate
something
you.
for you there. But have the Bengals shown any interest in free tight ends in free agency?
Next question.
All right. That answers it. Wes Harrison saying, would they be comfortable with Tyson Anderson opposite of Dax Hill?
I think the Bengals are going to get a veteran there.
And one more question. Do you think Tom Brady is going to unretire this?
I think Tom Brady's done. Yeah.
All right.
So, guys, we want to thank you guys so much. We were live for 45 minutes, and my man Dave is saying something up here. He says, if you missed the conversations with Bengals tight end coach James Casey, go check it out after the show. He talks 10 of the tight ends in the draft. Yes, make sure you guys check that out. But I'll thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. We'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. If you guys could do me a huge favor, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to hit 4K. Give this video a like. We'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Make sure you turn on post notifications. We'll dive a little bit deeper. Me and Evan will be here. We'll dive a little bit deeper into the signing. We'll talk about all the news and rumors. I hope that you guys appreciated us going live and things of that nature.
Everybody's showing love in the comments right now.
We can't do this without you guys, man. But appreciate you guys so much. Give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Make sure you guys get some rest, get some sleep. I know it's exciting times in Cincinnati, but get some sleep, guys. Get some sleep. We'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Appreciate you guys so much. And make sure you guys give First Star Logistics a follow on Twitter and Facebook while you're at it. We might be doing a giveaway at the end of the week as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I love you guys as well.